Their opinions cost them their lives. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down the top 10 political assassinations of the 20th century. Number 10. Ngo Dinh Diem. As the first president of South Vietnam, Diem was steadfastly anti-communist. This earned him United States support. However, when the US discovered Diem was massacring Buddhists, he lost that support. He was captured and assassinated on November 2, 1963 during a coup d'etat in what proved to be a turning point in the Vietnam War. Number 9. Harvey Milk. Milk was the first openly gay elected official in California, and that's why some consider his death a hate crime. However, Dan White apparently pulled the trigger on Milk on November 27, 1978 because of a work dispute.
My duty to make this announcement, both Mayor Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk have been shot and killed.
Riots erupted when White was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter due to diminished capacity, and a great period of upheaval continued. Number 8. Anwar Sadat. Anwar Sadat won a Nobel Peace Prize for helping to broker the Egypt-Israel peace treaty, but that accord was controversial among Arab countries.
Let us pledge to make the spirit of Camp David a new chapter in the history of our nations. Thank you, Mr. President.
During a celebration in Cairo on October 6, 1981, Sadat was shot and killed because of it by a group that included Khalid Islambouli and some of Sadat's own soldiers. Middle East diplomacy was never the same. Number 7. Yitzhak Rabin.
The time for peace has come.
Right-wing radical Yigal Amir also attempted to derail the Middle East peace process by killing one of its architects. The Israeli Prime Minister was killed November 4, 1995, at a rally in Tel Aviv after receiving heavy criticism for his support of the Oslo Peace Accords as a way to settle the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. However, Amir successfully created a martyr for peace. Number 6. Mahatma Gandhi. He spent his life as a symbol of peace, but on January 30, 1948, he died as a victim of violence. After multiple assassination attempts against Gandhi, it was Hindu extremist Nathuram Godse who fired the fatal shots. Following his death, Gandhi's teachings served as inspiration for future activists like Martin Luther King Jr. to use nonviolence as a means to an end. Number 5. Malcolm X.
Now, I am well aware of what I'm setting in motion by what I'm saying up here tonight. I'm well aware, but I have never said or done anything in my life that I wasn't prepared to suffer the consequences for.
Malcolm X inspired many, but also made enemies with his fiery speeches and fervent beliefs. On February 21, 1965, he was shot and killed by 3 different men while speaking at New York's Audubon Ballroom. The Nation of Islam took responsibility, and Talmadge Hayer admitted his guilt, but the other 2 maintained their innocence. His death was one of many during the struggle for civil rights equality. Number 4. Robert Kennedy. Bobby's death was another.
Cannot continue to deny and postpone the demands of our own people while spending billions in the name of freedom elsewhere around the globe.
While at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles on June 5, 1968, as part of his presidential campaign, Kennedy was shot by Palestinian immigrant Sirhan Sirhan due to his support of Israel. RFK's death meant the loss of a viable candidate for the Democrats and the eventual election of Richard Nixon later that year. Number 3. Martin Luther King Jr. As he spoke to a crowd in Memphis, Tennessee on April 3, 1968, it seemed that Dr. King knew what was coming.
I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
The next day, the civil rights leader and Nobel Peace Prize winner was shot and killed by James Earl Ray as he stood on the balcony of his hotel room. King's death widened the gap between whites and blacks, caused riots, and spurred the expansion of radical African American movements like the Black Panthers. Number 2. John Fitzgerald Kennedy. While traveling by motorcade through Dallas, Texas's Dealey Plaza on November 22, 1963, he was killed by a sniper's rifle.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
The repercussions of Kennedy's assassination were felt for decades following his death. From the passage of 1964's Civil Rights Act to the intensification of the Vietnam War, it's impossible to know how things might have unraveled had Lee Harvey Oswald never taken the fatal shot. Number 1. Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Taking the top spot on our list is the event that sparked the First World War and forever changed the landscape of the globe. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria was shot and killed by Gavrilo Princip while he visited Sarajevo. The motive of Princip and his fellow Bosnian Serb revolutionaries was to break away from Austria-Hungary and form their own republic. If revolution was what they wanted, they certainly succeeded.